All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack open a single chapter from an ancient text, Proverbs 13, and see if its 3,000-year-old wisdom can actually give us a practical roadmap for living well in our world today. I know, it's a huge question. But what's fascinating about this chapter is that it's all about incredibly practical cause and effect principles. About our words, our work, and our wisdom. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's more like a straight-up user's guide to a life that actually works. So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll break it all down into 5 key themes. We'll start with the fundamental choice that the text lays out. Then we'll see how that single choice affects everything, from our words to our wallet. After that, we'll get into the price of wisdom, before we see where these two paths ultimately lead. At its heart, Proverbs 13 isn't really about 100 different rules to follow. It's actually all about one central choice between 2 totally different ways of living your life, the path of wisdom and the path of folly. And this, right here, just lays it all out. On the left, you've got someone who's open, who's learning, who surrounds themselves with other wise people. But on the right, you see someone who's totally closed off, who mocks advice and hangs out with, well, fools. The text is arguing these aren't just personality quirks. They are the fundamental choices that set you on one of 2 very, very different journeys.
This verse gets right to the point. See, it's not really about some external force judging you. The idea here is that your path has built-in consequences. Integrity acts as its own shield, its own protection. But wickedness, it's like a foundation that's designed to crumble all on its own.
Okay, so you've got these 2 paths. But where do they actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, according to this chapter, it starts with what comes out of our mouths. Let's talk about the incredible power of our words. Wow, this is about as direct as it gets, right? It frames our speech not as some casual thing, but as a super high-stakes activity. It literally has the power to either protect your life or completely destroy it. The imagery is just so stark. Guarding your mouth is like defending a fortress. And this breaks down the consequences even more. On one side, thoughtful speech brings good things into your life. It protects you. But on the other, just opening your lips without thinking, that leads directly to conflict, arrogance, and ruin. It's a pretty clear warning. So here's the bottom line. In a world of instant comments, tweets, and texts, this ancient advice is more relevant than ever. Our words aren't just empty air. They are literally the building blocks, the very tools we use to construct the future we're going to live in. Okay, so from our words, the chapter pivots to another incredibly practical area of life, our work and our wealth. And it lays out this really clear philosophy on how to build financial stability that actually lasts. The contrast here could not be more obvious. The slacker is defined by constant craving, always wanting, always dreaming, but never having anything. The diligent person, though, is described as fully satisfied. Why? Because they're the one actually doing the work. The message is simple. Get-rich-quick schemes or dishonest gains just disappear. But wealth that's built on patient, hard work, that's the stuff that grows. I absolutely love this verse because it just cuts right through all the noise of modern life, especially the highlight reels we see on social media. It draws this sharp line between the appearance of wealth, the flashy car, the designer clothes, and actual real wealth. It suggests that true financial health is often quiet, unseen, while a flashy lifestyle can be a mask for some serious financial trouble. And here, the perspective zooms out from just personal gain to thinking about a long-term legacy. It's not just about getting by yourself. It's about building something so stable that future generations can benefit from it. It really drives home the idea that true wealth is stable, it's lasting, and it can be passed down. So we've covered our words and our work, but what's the fuel that drives them both in the right direction? According to this chapter, it's the constant pursuit of wisdom, which it frames as the single most valuable thing you can possibly have. Now, it's really important we get this definition right. When the text talks about discipline or correction, it doesn't really mean punishment in the way we often think about it.
The idea is much closer to coaching. It's about being open to guidance, to instruction that's meant to help you grow.
And, wow, the outcomes are just night and day. Accepting feedback, being teachable, that's the path that leads upward toward honor and wisdom. But ignoring it, thinking you know it all, that path leads straight down into a pit of shame and poverty. The message is crystal clear. You have to be teachable to move forward in life.
And this right here, this is the central image of the entire chapter. Wisdom isn't just a collection of nice quotes. It's presented as this vital, life-giving source, a fountain of life. And what does it do? It actively protects you. It helps you see the hidden dangers, the snares of death that you might otherwise walk right into. So this brings us to the end of the road. The chapter has laid out these two very different paths, and now it's time to see where they each end up. What's the final destination? This verse just perfectly captures the emotional feeling of these two journeys. The path of folly, of always craving and never getting, it leads to a sick heart. It's exhausting. But the path of wisdom, even though it takes patience, leads to fulfillment, a tree of life, echoing that fountain of life we just talked about. It's all connected.
So in the end, the text paints two completely different pictures of where you'll end up.
And you really can't get any simpler than this. Disaster literally pursues one path, while prosperity is the reward for the other. And remember, this isn't just about money. It's about a life that works versus a life that is constantly and predictably falling apart.
And here it is, the final summary. The righteous person finds true satisfaction. The wicked person is left empty. The path of the unteachable person is just hard. And choosing fools as your friends, it leads to destruction. It's a really blunt summary of cause and effect played out to its final conclusion.
So, what do we take away from all this? Proverbs 13 isn't really a book of threats. It's a book of consequences. You could almost call it a 3,000-year-old guide to the physics of human behavior. And it leaves us with a very personal and very immediate question. The choice you're about to make, the words you're about to type, the work you're about to do, which path are you building right now?